Hey guys, what's up? I'm Connor from the Doogie Boys here, and today I'm going to be giving you guys, as you can see in the video description below, a album review, an anniversary review of my second favorite album by my favorite band of all time, Green Day, and the album that came out today, 10 years ago, on September 20th. That album is American Idiot. By the way, I got new glasses. That probably doesn't matter to you, but just wanted to say it. So yeah, American Idiot. I do own this on a CD in two ways. I own it on this because of the box set thingy, but I also do it. I do own it on original CD, like from when it first came out in 2004. But I do have the original CD, but unfortunately I lost the case for it, so I only have this. So if you guys aren't happy with that, I'll just do this. Yep, vinyl. Before I get into actually talking about the real album itself, and saying probably everything that every critic who's ever reviewed it ever has ever said, probably not because it's my own opinion, I'm going to give you guys a little history lesson. You see, back in the year of 2003, I think it was, Green Day was in the studio and they were making a brand new album. They had 18 tracks laid out, and they had it all for a new album, which was going to be called Cigarettes and Valentines. And if you want to hear the song Cigarettes and Valentines, go out to your local CD store or FYE and buy Awesome as Fuck. Go to the first CD that's in there and go to track 6, I mean, and that will be the song Cigarettes and Valentines, the song that never saw the light of day to be in an album, but it's on Awesome as Fuck. So yeah, they had that, and all the tracks laid out, and they said, you know, this is going to sound a little bit in a way, it's going to sound a little bit like Nimrod and Warning, like mixed together. It's going to sound a little bit like that, like a little more energetic, but some slow at the same time. Now they had all that, but then someone came into the someone they haven't figured out who did it, came into the recording studio and stole all the master tracks to that. Every single master track. They still had them on CD, but it wasn't the same. So they had all of the master tracks for Cigarettes and Valentines stolen. And for a while they were just like, well, fuck. Someone just stole our new album. Now we can't put it out. What the hell are we going to do now? We're probably just going to have to start from scratch. So them just, you know, being in the studio, just messing around and stuff. Mike Dirt, their bassist, I'm just gonna call him Mike. Mike walked up to Billy Joe. He's like, "Hey, I wrote a 30-second song. You should hear it." So he played it for him, and he's like, that sounds pretty funny." And then Trey Cool, their drummer, wrote a 30-second song, and they thought it was kind of funny. And then Billy Joe Armstrong wrote a 30-second song, and they're like, "Oh, this is kind of funny. It kind of sounds like a rock opera a little bit." And that song was the song Homecoming. So in a sense, the first song that ever came out of American Idiot was the song Homecoming. So, and then after that, they're like, "Oh, well, you know, this kind of fits. This is good. We should keep on doing this." And that's how they decided on recording American Idiot. Now, if I were to say anything about this album, I'd say for a punk rock band, this is a pretty big jump for what they wanted to do with their musical career. Because if you don't know this about American Idiot is Green Day's very first concept album. It's an album that has like a storyline to it. It has like characters in it and tells them about like the character kind of development, I guess. They only have two. They have two of them. They have American Idiot and they have 21st Century Breakdown. I could say that Warning was a concept album, but it kind of wasn't. So yeah. But also the reason why I think it's a huge step in a punk rock band's career is that not only is this a concept album, this is a rock opera. And if you don't know what a rock opera is, let me explain. A rock opera is pretty much like, unlike any other album that a band could put out, it's presented in a way of like multiple characters, it has a narrative to it, and it's presented in kind of an opera type way. So, unlike conventional regular albums that people could put out, like every song like goes together and like pretty much tells a story, and that is very true on this album because the storyline behind this album, in a way, it's kind of a love story, but in the beginning of it, um, there's pretty much three main characters, but the first two are one guy. So the main character in this, he's called the Jesus of Suburbia. He's a guy who he hates where he lives, hates his hometown, hates the entire world that he lives in, and he decides, you know what, I'm gonna run away. And when he runs away, he gets into the actual city, the city that he wanted to go to, and he's in there, and he's just like, wow, this is really really different. I did not expect this to be like this at all. This is completely different from what I wanted, and I don't even fit in here. So you know what? Why don't I change myself? Why don't I make myself into a completely different person that is not the way I am? So he makes the second character, which is his alter ego, called Saint Jimmy. And Saint Jimmy is the complete 180 of what Jesus of Suburbia is. Jesus of Suburbia is kind of like this guy who just keeps to himself and just hates everything around him, just keeps everything to himself, doesn't really talk to anybody. But Saint Jimmy is out there. Everyone knows who he is. He's all crazy and everything. He's all he's all about anarchy and stuff. And he's going around. And he's like doing all this crazy stuff. And while he's doing that, he meets a girl named what's her name. And when he meets her, he's like, wow, she's exactly the type of person that I have always wanted. She's a rebel type person. Sorry. She's a vigilante. She doesn't care about anything. She's like the perfect person. And then meets her, and they fall in love and everything. And towards the middle of it, they kind of get confrontations, and they go their separate ways. And towards the end, the Jesus of Suburbia, or Saint Jimmy, Jesus of Suburbia is totally fed up with how Saint Jimmy has become. So he kills that's Saint Jimmy, or gets rid of his alter ego, and then goes back to being the Jesus of Suburbia, and then decides, you know what, this life ain't for me. I'm gonna go back home. When he goes back home, many years pass by, and he's like, I wonder where what's her name is, or like he can't really remember her name. So it's like, I can't really remember her name, but I wonder where she went. Like all the times we had together, I wonder where she went. In a sense, that's kind of the story behind American Idiot. So. Yeah, I pretty much almost just did a track review for every track, so I'm just going to be talking about the tracks now. So the tracks on this album, on American Idiot, are as follows. American Idiot, Jesus of Suburbia, which has 6 parts, and those 6 different parts are Jesus of Suburbia, City of the Damned, I Don't Care, Dearly Beloved, and Tales of Another Broken Home. Track 3, Holiday. 4, Boulevard of Broken Dreams. 5, Are We the Waiting. 6, Saint Jimmy. 7, Give Me Novocaine. 8, She's a Rebel. 9, Extraordinary Girl. 10, Letter Bomb. 11, Wake Me Up September Ends. I'll get into that song. 12, Homecoming, which has 5 different parts, which are The Death of Saint Jimmy, East 12th Street, Nobody Likes You, Rock and Roll Girlfriend, and We're Coming Home Again. And last track is called What's Her Name. So, let's talk about the tracks. So, in one of the most controversial leaps in any band's career, first track, American Idiot. Now, I guess the reason why they wrote this song and all that, and the reason why they made such a political album, is because post 9/11, radio never played anything that was political. Nothing political was played on the radio, and everything was just like the same. And Billy Joe Armstrong and all the members of Green Day were just like, we're fed up with this. You have to play political stuff. I mean, it exists out there. You can't just ignore it. So after they wrote American Idiot, or when they wrote the first song of American Idiot, which I think was Homecoming, I'm just guessing that because 30-second songs led into Homecoming, so they pretty much made a political rock opera. I want to call it a masterpiece, but like concept album. So they pretty much made it all political, and the first track on there is one of the most like anti what's going on in America right now. For a while when I was a little kid, I thought the song was anti-American, and so did my friend, and he hated Green Day for that. But it's not exactly an anti-American song. It's kind of just like a wake-up call. Like, all this fucked up shit is happening, and George Bush, who was the president at the time, George W. Bush is ruining the fucking country. Like, wake up. We're all becoming American idiots. We are watching the media The song is pretty much like we're watching the media, we're getting scared by it, we're believing everything that's on that. We're listening to radio and we're just listening to that. We're not paying attention to what the fuck's going on. Just that. Another reason why the song was written was because Billy Joe Armstrong one time driving in his car, a song by Leonard Skinner that I can't remember the name of came on, and a part of the song it said, "I'm proud to be a redneck," and immediately Billy Joe said, "Wow, I completely disagree with that. Who in the hell would be proud of who in the hell would be proud of being a redneck? That is something I'm completely against." So he almost wrote American Idiot after that. The next song is called Jesus of Suburbia. So Jesus of Suburbia is the introduction to the very first character in this entire concept album. The Jesus of Suburbia, well, he pretty much is just saying about himself, like I'm the son of rage and love. My main diet is soda pop and Ritalin and all that stuff, and like saying I don't care about anything, and I'm living in the city of the damned, and well, like um, in the line like "City of the Damned, lost children with dirty faces today, but no one really seems to care." So everyone's um, like pretty much like I guess the saying "home is where the heart is." He's pretty much saying, well, that's not for everyone, because there's like broken streets, there's children with like dirty face, like children like living in the streets, being dirty and all that stuff. But no one cares. Like honestly, don't nobody cares about anything that's going that's going around and all that stuff. And then in the song, the third part, "I Don't Care," he's pretty much saying like, I'm saying all this stuff, but like I'm living in a place like everyone's full of shit. They're all hypocrites. Um, they're all hypocrites. They don't really believe anything that they say they believe in, and everyone just needs to like get a grip of themselves and all that. Then "Dearly Beloved" is kind of like in a sarcastic way, but then in part of it he's like, "Oh, therapy, can you please fill the void? Like, try to help me out here." And then the song "Tales of Another Broken Home." I think "Tales of Another Broken Home" is talking about how he runs away from home after that, because that's what he does. He runs away from home because he's fed up with where he lives and he wants to get away from it. He wants to live where he feels like he belongs, which I guess is in the quote unquote city. So he runs away from home, and then you get into the next track, "Holiday," which is pretty much talking about like he's like leaving and everything, but he's like having all these like parties and all that stuff, and like he's like having fun, and he's on his holiday for once and all that. But also, there's another side to the song, and that's the anti-war type meaning of that song. Because if you listen, there's a lot of like references to like war and all that stuff. Like, can you hear the sound of the falling rain coming down like an Armageddon flame? That's pretty much like, I guess back in world like pretty much they say back in World War II, everyone thought the end of the world was coming. So like the sound of the falling rain coming down like an Armageddon flame, that's the atomic bomb. Like the atomic bomb is coming down and blowing everybody and like blowing everyone to shreds and everything. So that's what that line means. But so pretty much some of these songs on this album have half a meaning. One half is to the actual story. The other half is like what Billy Joe Armstrong is trying to get out with this. And the song "Holiday," he always starts off like starts off when he plays a concert. He's like, "Do you want to start a fucking war?" or something like that. And then he says, this song is not anti-American. This song is anti-war." But he yells it, and I didn't want to do that because I cannot do Billy Joe Armstrong unless I'm playing Green Day Rock Band. But yeah, so the song "Holiday," half of it, Jesus of Suburbia is like having fun for once in his life, and he's like running away from home and all that stuff. The other side of it, talking about what's going on in America at the time and how they don't agree with it, and everything's kind of fucked up, and the fact that we're in the war in Iraq is a fucking like a fucking travesty, and almost a joke. Next joke, which is not the first single on the album, but one of the singles. I can't remember them in order, but next song, "Boulevard of Broken Dreams." Now, this song has to deal with the storyline. I don't really know anything about the other half of it, but the song "Boulevard of Broken Dreams," I like to think of this song as kind of like the Hangover song. Like on the song "Holiday," the Jesus of Suburbia, he was like having fun and all that stuff, and everything was going great. But since he's running away from home, now he's all by himself, and it's like the Hangover type song. Like I walk this lonely road, the only road I've ever known, and I'm trying to get where I need to go, and I'm trying to get away from the home that I used to be at and all that. So yeah, like the Boulevard of Broken Dreams, he like it's pretty much a song about him being lonely at the time, I guess. And then it gets into the song "Are We the Waiting," which I like to think of this song like he's finally in the place where he wants to go. Like he's seeing all these skyscrapers and neon lights and all that stuff, and all the people that are around him and all that, and how everybody acts. And he's just like, "Whoa, this is not what I thought it would be, at all." Um, I am totally not in this. I'm not fit in with this. Maybe I need to change the way I am. And then they get into the next song, which is Saint Jimmy. And Saint Jimmy is pretty much he gets into the place that he gets into like the city where he wants to go and all that stuff. Sees that he probably needs to change his ways, so he makes himself an alter ego, which is completely different from the way he is. Instead of being like this guy who keeps to himself and never really talks to anybody, he's this guy who's all crazy and he's this guy who's all crazy and like out there and stuff and is trying to fit in with everybody, I guess. Then after that, the song "Give Me Novocaine." There's pretty much two meanings to this song too. One part of it, "Give Me Novocaine," is pretty much talking about everything that is around him and all that stuff, and he wants to like he's not really used to it and all that stuff, so he wants to like get away from it and like everything and not really deal with it that much. But then the other part of the song, I think, "Give Me Novocaine," is pretty much like when you don't want to feel shitty, you don't want to feel shitty. So like, give me Novocaine, make me not feel like shit. After that song, "She's a Rebel." I think "She's a Rebel" is finally when the Jesus of Suburbia, or Saint Jimmy at the time, meets what's her name, which is the other character in the story, and she's a rebel. Like he meets her, and it's everything he's always wanted in someone. Like she's a rebel, she's a vigilante. She like hates everything, almost hates everything. Is like almost all about anarchy, all that stuff. But then I think on the other part of the song, when I really listen to the song, I really think that the song is almost talking about like she's a rebel, she's a vigilante. It's almost a song talking about America in a way. I don't know how. I don't know how that would exactly be, but it's kind of talking about um, we like America. We always think that we can deal with the problems and all that stuff. We're such rebels. We do all this stuff. We don't give a shit when anyone tells us. And also, this is the song that sparked the front cover of the album. Because in part of the song, it says, "She's holding on to my heart like a hand grenade," and they didn't know how to make a front cover for the album American Idiot. They didn't know anything that would help or like fit in for like the storyline and all that stuff. So like the artist that was making their front cover, he was listening to some of their songs and he heard the song and then he heard "She's holding on to my heart like a hand grenade." He's like, oh, so made the front cover, which is the front cover of this album is says Green Day presents American Idiot. And then has like a white colored hand holding onto a grenade, which looks like a heart. And then on the other side, it looks like the pin that he pull out of it, and has the tracks on it. But yeah, and that track 9 I think is a little more of a way of the song "Extraordinary Girl." Also like the lines, "She's an extraordinary girl." Some days he feels like dying, and she gets so sick of crying. Like the Jesus of Suburbia or Saint Jimmy. Like some days he just hates his life and he just wants to end it all, and he just like pretty much hates everything. And then what's her name? Like she sees all this stuff, and she's always like sick of just like seeing him, seeing like that or whatever. Like her life kind of sucks, and so she gets like sick of just crying over everything. That's what I interpret the song as. And then after that we have track 10, which is my favorite song off the entire album, "Letterbomb." This to me is the song talking about what's her name, or Jesus of Suburbia. I think it's from the point of view of what's her name, like where have all the riots gone, or where have all the bastards gone? Like why is everything that's like anarchy and all that stuff, and like why is this just ending right here? Why is this just like ending right here, and like nobody's really doing anything about it? I also kind of think their other interpretation is just like talking about America again at the time in 2004 and all that stuff. Like where have all the riots gone? Like we're like pretty much it's saying like all this messed up stuff is happening right now, yet nobody's doing anything about it. So like there's really no Nobody like trying to change everything. There's no like people doing going against and talking about hey, all of this is bad and we don't really want it to be like this anymore. Like nobody's like doing a riot or something like that. And then also in the song, my favorite part of the entire song, you're not the Jesus of suburbia. The Saint Jimmy is a figment of your father's rage and your mother's love, and they made the idiot America, or they made me the idiot America, like saying like, just stop being the way you are, okay? You're not like this. You're not like this. You're not all like this and all that stuff. So just change the way you are. And if you watch the American Idiot musical, which is where I'm getting most of my stuff from, kind of makes sense. And also, it's my favorite song in the entire album. So yeah. And then the next song, "Wake Me Up When September Ends." This song, unlike any other songs that I've just talked about, nothing to do with the storyline of this album. This is the one song that's completely different and has its own way into the album of American Idiot. This song, "Wake Me Up When September Ends," was actually written about, I want to say, about 5 years before American Idiot was going to be made. "Wake Me Up September Ends" is the song that Billy Joe Armstrong wrote about his dad dying when he was about 10 years old. So pretty much the story behind "Wake Me Up September Ends" and the line "Wake Me Up When September Ends" goes, Billy Joe Armstrong's dad died on September something, September 1st I think it was, I don't know, I forgot I forgot the Wikipedia page, okay, but yeah, so, and then the funeral was held on September 10th, and Billy Joe Armstrong, being the sad little kid that he was, ran home, locked himself in his room, and then when his mom came home and knocked on his door, she said, like, "Billy Joe, what's wrong?" And he says, wake me up when September ends." My dad just died, and it's the month of and it was in the month of September, and I just want this to all be over with. So like when September ends, just wake me up, because I just don't want to deal with this right now. And there was also another thing that I'd like to stress right now. For all of you who are watching this video and thought that "Wake Me Up September Ends" is about 9/11, Billy Joe Armstrong said, if you want to believe that that's what the song's about, go ahead, but you're wrong. Because it's not really about that. And in a sense, "Wake Me Up September Ends" is one of the saddest songs Green Day has ever put out, or that Billy Joe Armstrong has ever wrote. In fact, when they played it live in Bullet in the Bible, he's crying halfway through the song. And the song was actually originally supposed to be on this album, Shenanigans, their freaking B-side album. It's supposed to be on there, and they're supposed to record it for that, and that was supposed to be like the main single for it. But Billy Joe Armstrong said he wasn't emotionally ready until American Idiot, and even then. And also, one thing that always gets to me every single time that I watch like Green Day live videos, when they play Reading 2013, he doesn't say 20 years have gone so fast. Like, also in the line, 7 years have gone so, like, as my father's come to pass, 7 years have gone so fast. 7 years after his father died, I guess, that was when him and Mike started Green Day as Sweet Children. And then 20 years have gone so fast, to where they were currently right then and there. But in Reading 2013, he doesn't say 20 years. He says 30 years. I don't know why, but every time I hear that just fucking gets to me. But yeah, the song "Wake Me Up September Ends," probably one of my favorite songs off the entire album, and one of the most deepest meaning songs off the entire album. So, getting back to the main storyline of this album, the song "Homecoming." The song "Homecoming" is kind of like the first part of the entire song is called "The Death of Saint Jimmy." When I hear that part, I kind of think like, okay, the Jesus of Suburbia is noticing that that Saint Jimmy is screwing his life up and making everything around him terrible, so he has to get rid of him, and in that sense, he quote unquote kills the Saint Jimmy, and then goes on with his life. And then East 12th Street, Jesus filled out the paperwork at the facility on East 12th Street. He's pretty much like getting a job then and there, pretty much. So yeah, he's pretty much like saying, I'm finally becoming my own person. Maybe I should just like get along with my life. And then pretty much East 12th Street filled out the paperwork on East 12th Street. Either he's getting a job there, or he's doing something there that's like really important, I guess. Then the two other songs on this, which are Nobody Likes You and Rock and Roll Girlfriend. Those are not really any part of anything. Nobody Likes You is kind of just like the 30-second song that Mike Dirnt, their bassist, wrote. So yeah, Nobody Likes You. Like I fell asleep watching Spike TV after 10 cups of coffee and you're still not here. I guess that could kind of go in like the storyline a little bit, like the Jesus of Suburbia. He's just sitting on his couch watching TV and waiting for what's her name to come, but she never does. And like he has, I don't know, he drinks 12 cups of coffee, and then after that, then the next song, Rock and Roll Girlfriend, which is written, and sung by their drummer Trey Cool. In a way, he's kind of just talking about himself there. Like, I got a rock and roll band, I got a rock and roll girlfriend, and another ex-wife. I got a kid in New York, and I got a kid in the Bay. I haven't drank or smoked nothing in over 22 days, so get off my case. He's pretty much just talking about himself there. In a way, that's what Trey Cool's doing there, and it's kind of funny. And then the song We're Coming Home Again. I think that the Jesus of Suburbia is finally noticing all this stuff is happening, and he doesn't like where he's at currently. So he's like, you know what? I had a better life back where I originally was, so I'm gonna go home, back to where he started. Then after that, the final track, one of my favorite songs off the entire album, What's Her Name? In the beginning, the song is like, thought I ran into you the other day, but it turns out it was someone else. Like he's saying, I was like just walking down the street and I thought I saw like what's her name, but turns out it wasn't her. And then he keeps thinking about her and all that stuff. Like, did she ever marry like what's his face or something like that? And I guess the reason why it's called What's Her Name is because I guess there was an original name for that in his mind, but it's so many years have gone that he completely forgot what her name was. Remember forever, like seems like so long ago, but maybe he's saying like it happened so long ago, but in reality it didn't happen that long ago, and everything went so fast that he can't really remember anything about that. But yeah, the song What's Her Name, I interpreted it as just like so many years have gone by, he's now remembering the girl that he used to know and can't even remember her name, but just remembers her face and everything. So yeah, well, that's my track review of American Idiot. Hope you enjoyed that. Now, since I don't really have anything, the only thing I would talk about is on the vinyl. Front cover from the song She's a Rebel, holding on my heart like a hand grenade. You know, I already explained that. The back has like the pin pulled out of the grenade, and then has the names of the tracks right there. You open this up, and I don't know who that is. I guess is representing the Jesus of Suburbia. But on one fist right there it says Rage. The other side it says Love, and then he's holding on to like a gate. Then it says starring Billy Joe Armstrong on guitar and lead vocals, Mike Dirnt on bass and vocals, and Trey Cool on drums and vocals. I love the fact that it says starring. This isn't really important, but on the album itself, like on the actual vinyl itself, well, first off, first side has 2 songs, American Idiot and Jesus Suburbia. Other side has 4, Holiday, Boulevard of Broken Dreams, and Are We the Waiting, and Saint Jimmy. First one, in front of it says Rage, and the other one, of course you can probably guess, says Love. Also, I have a theory behind why it says I'm the son of Rage and Love. He probably doesn't even want to remember what his parents' names are, so he just says, like, one of them, his father, like, his father he calls Rage because his father was always angry with him, and then Love because, as his mother, because his mother was probably always so loving towards him, or maybe she was, like, I don't know, like a drug addict or something like that, so it just seemed like that, and she was always calm most of the time, but if she never did that, then she'd be crazy. I just explained Eminem's mom. But, yeah, other one, of course, says Love on it, and has Give Me Novocaine, She's a Rebel, Extraordinary Girl, Let Her Bomb, and Waking Up September Ends. And then the last side has Homecoming and What's Her Name. And then something that I think is outrageously cool about the vinyl is that it comes with a poster. I'm going to have to stand up here. It comes with a poster of pretty much this is the lyric sheet. Has the lyrics to all the songs, and the coolest part is that next to it has the dates where it was recorded, like such as American Idiot was recorded on February 13th, Holiday April 1st, Are We the Waiting on Easter Sunday, Extraordinary Girl doesn't say, but She's a Rebel was on July 4th, so it was on the 4th of July. And then the other side has that, and then has like 4 pictures about him, including one of them, which is Billy Joe Armstrong with like bombs strapped to fake bombs strapped to his chest. So yeah, and as album reviewing tradition for me, I'm gonna be naming my favorite tracks off this album, which is gonna be completely extremely hard because this is my second favorite album by Green Day and one of my favorite albums of all time. Even though when I was reviewing the track review, doing the track review, it kind of sounded like I was doing like a narrative behind the album. So, favorite tracks. 13 tracks, so that'd be my top 6. Oh, my top 6 favorite tracks off this album would have to be American Idiot, of course, Jesus of Suburbia, Holiday, Boulevard of Broken Dreams, Let Her Bomb, and What's Her Name. And honorable mention would be, wait a minute, hold on, American Idiot, Jesus of Suburbia, Holiday, Let Her Bomb, Wake Me Up September Ends, and What's Her Name. I wouldn't really include Boulevard of Broken Dreams. It is probably one of my favorite songs by Green Day, but, you know, it's one of their most famous songs. So, yeah, that's my top 6 favorite tracks off American Idiot. Now, rating time. This album deserves a perfect 10. But my rule is that unless it absolutely deserves it and all that stuff, and it's going to change the face of rock music, I really can't give it a 10. So, although I think it deserves a 10, for precautionary reasons, I'm going to give this album a 9.5 out of 10. The album by Green Day that does deserve a 10 and did almost change the face of music is Dookie. This album did kind of change the face of music, but Dookie changed it a little more, and I just think that Dookie's a little bit of a better album than American Idiot, which pretty much means I'm disagreeing with BestEverAlbums.com, because they rate this as the second best album from 2004. Funeral by Arcade Fire is number 1. I kind of disagree with that, but, you know, Funeral's good. So, yeah, American Idiot by Green Day. Number 2, and apparently they say it's the greatest album by Green Day. Have they listened to Dookie? That's all I'm saying. But yeah, so that's my review for Green Day's American Idiot. I'm sorry if this review is extremely long, because I'm pretty much guessing that it is. So that's pretty much it. 3, 2, 1. I'm done. Next review will probably be on something by Radiohead, because I got landed into Radiohead recently. So, bye. It might be either OK Computer or In Rainbows, which I have on vinyl. Okay, bye.